Hello, everybody. Welcome back to vidIQ once again, and your regular weekly dose of channel audits with your host, Rob Wilson here, the YouTuber in residence. If you are brand new to vidIQ, and let me briefly explain that you are going to be educated and entertained for the next couple of hours as you willingly submit your channels for critique, motivation, constructive criticism. We're all friends and family here, and we're going to do our utmost to take you from point B in your YouTube journey to point A plus. It is week 34 of 2022, which means it is episode 34 of our Tuesday channel audit live streams, which marry up very, very nicely with our video reviews that we do every single Wednesday. I am a host of these channel audits, and as I introduce our co-host, the host of the Wednesday video reviews, it is Dan the man, the gaming expert, the eyebrow raising, looking around. He's adjusted his setup slightly, or have you not, for live streams, Dan? We were talking before we went live. That's for your live videos. That's for your videos on demand, I guess, then, yep.
Yeah, people who watch the videos will notice it looks just slightly different. And then tomorrow, when you come to the Wednesday live stream, which you'll definitely be there for, I know all of you will be there, it'll look like this.
So we encourage all of you to watch all of our videos to see the spot the differences changes that Dan makes to his videos on demand. Now, introducing our next guest host, as always, he needs no introduction from me. He just needs 20 seconds of airtime. Take it away, as always. Go.
Yeah, you know, it's been a while since I've been here, but I am back. So we're about to turn up the heat. So I hope you all got your pens and papers out. Take your notes. We're about to get into the channel audits right now.
And that is Viper, of course, who, for the first time ever, I don't think introduced himself. He just said, hello. Hey, Viper, how's it going? Glad to have you on board, as always. Introducing next. He's almost a regular. I mean, we know Jeff, who's been on like for multiple consecutive episodes. He's like the full regular here, but we have another semi-regular. We talk about repeat guests and SNL, where they get the smoker's jacket after 5 episodes or guest appearances. I think now this person does qualify. He is the leader of the Think Media team with now over 2 million subscribers. He is the myth, the legend, the man who will just get you pumped and motivated every time you speak to him. And very soon he's going to be welcoming another little Canel to the family. Hey, Sean, welcome back to vidIQ.
And fired up to be here. Rob, Dan, Viper, good to see you. What's up, Joshua, Kelly? What's up, Edward Plays Minecraft, Funny, Brick, Advice. Hey, Sean Cannell here if we're just meeting, Rhymes with YouTube channel. And man, I'm fired up.
As are we all. And yeah, Sean, we want to thank you very much for joining us today, because we know it is an exciting, semi-stressful time. You're welcoming your next child into the world very, very soon.
We got 6 days is the window we're in. So if I have to run out, I mean, that'll be a reason that I bail, because it'll be if the water breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. And have we got a live stream set up for this 24/7 live stream? Is all of this going to be on YouTube or? Yeah.
I'm not ready, but I need like Daryl Eves backpack it like just the whole time, just with like a selfie stick.
Yeah.
Gets a little graphic, but we could do it, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, we were thinking of taking some sweepstakes on when you think that Think Media child is going to arrive in the world. If you do want to let us know in the chat, or if you have, if you want to name the child, I think Sean, we were just discussing beforehand. Sean, is it going to allow you to name the baby? The best name is going to that's going to be on the birth certificate, as far as we know. If it's YouTube related, the better. So let us know in the chat if you have any suggestions on what Sean should call his latest publication in the real world.
Content. New content all the time.
New content. Sean's latest content. You just got to press record, or you just got to press publish sometimes. And that's what I'm going to stop there before this gets any more weird. Welcome everybody to the Tuesday Channel Audit live streams. And as you're all filing in to our lecture theatre, our learning hall, our content classroom, I always like to kick off these with a bit of a question, just to get us in the mood, a little bit of an icebreaker. As some of you may be aware, the prequel, I guess, or the reboot of Game of Thrones was launched on Sunday, called House of the Dragon. I'm going to give it a B+, an A-. It's a promising start. But I wanted to ask the co-hosts here and everybody in the chat, if you wanted a TV series to be rebooted, or like a prequel or a sequel, what would you love to see return to our screens? Or what would you think would be a really bad idea to reboot? And Dan, I'm going to throw this over to you if you have anything that jumps into your head, and anybody in the chat, if they want to contribute here, what would you like to see coming back to our TV screens?
I don't know. I watch a lot of stuff, and some of it's just better left untouched. I would like to see some shows.
I agree with that.
I like to see some shows uncanceled. Netflix has canceled like a number of amazing shows. A lot of networks have canceled a number of amazing shows, but like nothing's jumping to mind. There's one I liked. If it didn't get uncanceled, I wouldn't be too upset. But it was called Glow. It was a really good one. I don't know. There's just so many shows. I think Game of Thrones coming back though is a good thing. I think there needs to be like a redemption arc there, and we might get it, which I'm pretty excited about. I have not seen this first episode yet. I'm saving it for maybe like tomorrow.
Viper, what about you? I know you watch a lot of movies and TV. What would you like to see come back?
Okay, y'all. Let me just keep it real with y'all. My favorite show of all time, some of you might be aware, was rebooted in 2017, but it was rebooted with a completely different lead character, so that made it a complete boo-boo. But we need to bring back 24, but not just any old 24. We need to bring back 24 with Jack Bauer, okay? Bring Kiefer Sutherland back. Grab him out of the country bars and try to think country. Bruh, no. Just reprod Jack Bauer and make the entire world happy. Thank you very much.
Good show.
Sean?
So there was a show called Limitless, like the movie, and it was great. And I don't know why it didn't get renewed, but it only had one season, I believe. And so, man, they should have made more seasons. But I think sometimes the actors, they can't, they don't re-sign, or just something else doesn't work. But I can't imagine it was because of dissatisfaction by the audience, because it's a great show.
Plenty of suggestions have come in the chat. I've seen so many.
Dude, Stargate, the show, like done. I mean, you said Stargate. They should make StarCraft, the game, into a phenomenal show. Like if it was done big budget, that could be I'd be into it.
Yeah, there's plenty of suggestions here of what we should be bringing up. Breaking Bad, do you not feel as if we're done with that universe now? I mean, Omar, Better Call Saul. Just checking you watched that.
Are you guys all done? Did you watch? It's over.
Yep.
Did it satisfy?
I thought so.
Yeah. It was a slow ending, but I thought it fits the show itself. So I was satisfied by it.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it's a good show. Good universe.
I think there's plenty of suggestions here. They're going to keep coming in. So thank you for all of your suggestions. And if there are any TV studios watching, this is your survey of what you should bring back. So what we actually do here for the next couple of hours is audit your channels. And we do it through a 60-second explainer video that I'm going to show you right now. If you are brand new here in the channel audit live stream, do let us know in the chat, and all of our original gangsters and regulars will welcome you in as we show you how this all works. Welcome to the vidIQ channel audit live stream, where we review your YouTube channels. To submit your channel for review, make sure to fill out the right form linked in the video description. Note that we clear these forms after every live stream, so make sure to resubmit the following week. Channel audits are free, so please don't send us a super chat or spam us in a chat expecting a review. If there are alternative ways to get picked for an audit, we will let you know during the live stream. If we don't get around to reviewing your channel today, vidIQ has a channel audit tool working 24/7 with you. Make sure to download our tools and use the 30-day free trial using the link in the video description. If you submit your channel for review, expect the following. We are sharing nothing more than our knowledge, experience and passion as fellow YouTube creators. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our moderators who do a phenomenal job every single week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As for all of you, well, thumbs up if you enjoy this live stream, subscribe if you love it, and if you know of a fellow creator who may find all of his stuff useful, please do share it with them. And with all of that being said, let's start auditing your channels. Now I have two final pieces of housekeeping before we kick this off. We get approximately 1,000 channel submissions every single week. Unfortunately, we can't audit you all. So what we recommend you do, if possible, is bring up your channel on a second screen, because as we're auditing a tech channel, a gaming channel, travel channel, we'll be talking about fundamentals, thumbnails, titles, channel focus, and a lot of that conversation will apply to your channel. So just think about what you can do to improve your channel as we're talking about a channel on screen. And this is a community conversation. We're not auditing channels for shout out's sake. You're not going to get hundreds of subscribers and thousands of views because we're auditing your channel. What we're trying to do here is create a canvas of conversation for all of you in this community to help you grow your channels with your audience. With all of that being said, Dan, Viper, Sean, shall we jump into our first channel audits?
Yep.
Thank you for the enthusiasm there, Sean. That's what I do. All right. So the first channel we're going to look at is a channel that's submitted first on the forms that are in the description. Fill them out now if you want your chance to be picked later on. They call themselves the Brothers Fleming. And Viper, I'm going to throw it over to you for just your first initial impressions on what you think this channel is about.
Can we keep scrolling down a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of pop culture.
Yeah, this channel.
Gaming pop culture.
Yeah, I see a lot of Fortnite stuff, but then I see a lot of She-Hulk trailer stuff. So this channel is suffering from a lack of focus. So, like I kind of agree with Sean. It kind of seems like they want to focus on pop culture stuff, but I mean, you can't. I don't know if you can do both. You either focus on the Fortnite stuff or focus on the pop or the She-Hulk stuff. Like,
what do they declare in the about page?
Yeah, that's
so let's have a look here. Diverse content.
They declared it. It is diverse content. A little bit of everything.
okay.
A little bit of gaming, a little bit of battles, movie reviews, skits, family-friendly content. Let's party.
So let's talk about this as a starting point. You know, this channel is supposed to be a non-gaming channel because we have forms for each, and they have gaming content in there. Usually we would refuse to audit the channel because they filled out the wrong form, but I think it's a clear indication that this channel hasn't decided on its focus. And one of the, I guess, potential flaws a channel might have is that when they're describing their channel, if they include commas and the word "and", then there's a dilution of channel focus. And it looks to me as if this channel, although they are still early on in their journey, are struggling a little bit from this. Would we all agree in that?
Yep.
100%. And, you know, I think the one silver lining of going this way is I'm really glad they're creating content. So
Absolutely.
They're creating content. You're experimenting, and what could happen is potentially you could have a breakout video, a theme of breakout videos, and you could start steering your channel in that direction. And so, you know, saying that, I think that, yeah, why not throw some spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks.
And you are right in a sense that this creator has a lot of passion. They're uploading on a very regular cadence here, Sean, like video at this point every, I'd say 2 to 3 days. And there's already some signs of progress. This channel does look at Fortnite, but then when they do reactions to certain television or movie franchises, there's an increase in views. Like for a channel with 33 subscribers, I would be looking at these 3 videos here, looking at the top Harry Potter characters, making a critique on a Marvel TV show, and reacting to a Marvel television series. All of these are getting more views and subscribers, which is a good sign that YouTube is recommending their content to new audiences for this creator.
Yes.
Dan,
Yeah,
you've been quiet.
Well-
Let's unsilence you. What thoughts do you have?
I think that everything you guys have said is spot on. It's really tough, like when you see channels like this, and it's like, oh, it's like there's so much passion here, right? They desperately like want to be on YouTube, they want to create, but it's that channel focus. Like there's this temptation to put everything in your brain onto your YouTube channel, and I think when you're first starting out, there is something to that. I think that is what allows you to make mistakes, to build up your on-camera personality, you know, things of that nature. So hopefully in submitting their channel, this is the kind of advice they needed. I think like what you just pointed out with the videos that are performing well, it's a great start. Like that is permission for you to kind of double down on that content if that's the kind of content you want to make. If you're still figuring that out, then, you know, keep testing some stuff out. But once you see views start to take off on a certain subject that you're covering, that's when we would say, okay, stop what you're doing and look at that type of content and try to identify that audience. I believe that Harry Potter and Marvel, like that's a bit of crossover right there. I think I think there's a similarity between the kind of person who would watch a Harry Potter movie and would watch a Marvel show or movie. So knowing that, you could be the person that kind of covers these types of shows in the way you're covering them. So, I mean, for the videos we're seeing that are taking off, I think that's a really strong start.
I mean, given that this Hulk, She-Hulk television series has just launched, I think only the first episode has been released.
Mhm.
Imagine the supplementary content you could do here. You've broken down episode 1. Maybe you could do another video that's like the hidden Easter eggs of episode 1. Then you could preview episode 2 before it is released. Then a reaction and a breakdown to episode 2. And I feel as if you could do almost 3 or 4 videos per episode.
Yeah.
And almost niche down into that as a bit of an experiment.
Yeah, I would be doing episode recaps if that's your thing. Or I would just be breaking down like maybe things you may have missed. If you feel like, oh gosh, the people doing recaps, like I don't really know if I want to compete with that. There's different ways you can like bring your take to a show that's up and coming. But I think they covered it at the right time, which is great. They're obviously paying attention to the Marvel stuff. So yeah, it could be a really good direction to go in. Marvel's always kind of releasing something on Disney Plus. If there's not a show ongoing, there's one that's coming up soon. So you can be talking about the next one right after She-Hulk ends, you know, to compare it to the comic books. What do you think they'll include in this story? What won't be included? Like there's so many places you could take a channel like this, but you got to stop doing the Fortnite stuff, the Dragon Ball Z stuff. Like you always want to make the content for an audience, not all the audiences. Like pick one type of person and make the content for them.
All right, then. So
I want to talk about
go ahead, Viper. Go ahead.
I want to talk about the thumbnail. Can you highlight that She-Hulk episode 1 reaction and breakdown thumbnail real quick? All right. So a lot of up-and-coming creators do thumbnails this way. They'll do it kind of like a whole picture-in-picture effect where you got a singular picture of you on one point and the picture of the show, whatever you want to talk about on the other point.
Yeah.
You all, I would suggest you learn how to mesh the pictures into one. So that picture of She-Hulk should be the entire thumbnail, and then just Photoshop a picture of you and your reaction somewhere into that one picture instead of having 2 completely different pictures. Because it just looked weird and off-putting. It looked kind of generic when you do it that way. So I would say just learn how to mesh your different pictures into one picture instead of having 2 separate pictures on a thumbnail.
Here's a couple of examples, just doing some research into how other people are reacting to the program and the thumbnails that they use. We have to appreciate that this creator is fairly early on in their YouTube journey, Viper, but they're starting to get the elements right. I mean, not a small use of text, a clip from the show, there is an arrow used. It could be used more effectively in your reaction. I think there's some very basic thumbnail elements in there that are a good start. But as you say, the execution of it could be ramped up 100%, if not more. So that is the Brothers Fleming. And that is our first non-gaming channel. If, as Dan suggests, they cut out all of the Fortnite stuff, which isn't getting any views really anyway. And we'll now move on to our first gaming channel. And they call themselves Charlie B Gaming. And they do gaming reviews and memes. Dan, being the gaming aficionado here, allegedly, what do you think of this channel?
So let's see here. I'll ignore the channel trailer because I think everyone should have a trailer on their channel. But we do. Tell me if I'm wrong. You can unlist that and still have it show up on your homepage, right?
Correct. Yeah, you can put any video there as long as it's not private, as far as I can remember.
As just an initial tip, like one thing we do recommend is unlisting your channel trailer if it's just going to serve as a channel trailer. And that just keeps it from going into the sub feed, like, and kind of confusing the viewers who are starting to follow you. It's a nitpick at best, though. Let's look at like channel update, for example. These are the types of videos that I would recommend channels don't ever do. If you're changing something about your channel, especially at the size you're at now, make the change. Just whatever's being updated, just update it. And then if you feel weird, like your regular viewers are like, oh, they're definitely going to notice and I really want to say something, in your next video, halfway through it, not at the beginning, halfway through or so, say, by the way, you might notice there's a couple things been changing. From now on, I'm going to be uploading on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. No big thing. Just be sure you're subscribed and turn notifications. Like, I'm just imagining that's what the change is, right? So put your channel update in the videos that you would give to those returning viewers, because vague channel update might not even go to your returning viewers to the point where they'll click on it, right? Like the thumbnail doesn't look like anything else you've done on your channel before. It just says channel update. There's no indication of who you are, what it's about. So just include that in the videos you know they're going to watch, and don't dwell on it. Just make the changes you want to make. There's no reason to document these things. And if you have the community tab, that's even easier, because then you can just quickly type it out like, hey, you're going to see a few things change in the channel. No big thing, blah, 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 blah. See you on Tuesday. So those are my recommendations for that. Now, talking about what you're doing as a whole, we're seeing a lot of similarities to the channel we just saw, which is kind of a lack of focus. I appreciate that some of these are going to be memes, and so they're going to be very short. The titles and thumbnails are going to be a little bit strange, and that's totally fine. But even when it comes to comedy content, in my opinion, you would still want to be appealing to a type of viewer, right? Like, you can make memes in Minecraft, and I think that would apply to a Minecraft audience. But if you have a viewer who hasn't played Minecraft, isn't into it, and you're trying to pitch them like a funny video, they may not watch that, Minecraft meme. They're like, oh, it's a Minecraft video, I'm not interested. But by the same token, the people who you're getting to watch the Minecraft meme are not interested in the other things that you're doing, potentially. You could argue that, well, what if some of them are? Maybe, but we're talking about building a consistent user base of people coming and going back to your channel time and time again. So I would want to see the same type of games being memed. I want to see a gaming channel that's going to, if you're going to do reviews, by the way, review the same type of game. You can be a review channel, but I would recommend horror games or survival games or racing games. Like, again, we're always trying to appeal to a type of person.
A loose through line I was spotting here, Dan, was VR. I think they've maybe got a VR headset recently, so I can see that kind of teased in some of these thumbnails, but not overtly. Yeah. And it's an interesting space because VR is growing exponentially, but there is also a barrier to entry. So, a lot of viewers can maybe enjoy the gaming content, but then they may feel left out with the VR headset stuff. But if you focus on the VR audience, which is still emerging, that might be an opportunity in itself as well.
It could be, and there's channels that do this very well. Like, what's it called? It's like VR Oasis or something with the word Oasis.
Yeah, I think you're right. VR Oasis.
I would be looking at them, like the people who are the best at this, right? Like the first channels you think of when you think VR game reviews, and notice how they do their content, right? They might be reviewing a number of different VR games and products for the headset and things like that, and they've earned their place by like they niche down, and eventually they kind of niched out over time, so on and so forth. But even then, you're not going to see a VR review channel of that caliber posting funny meme content. Like, it's just not the same type of content. It's not the same type of audience. So when they said they do gaming reviews and memes, I kind of think of that and I go, those are two different channels depending on how you're approaching YouTube. So there's like a lot. I feel like I'm just rambling, like the same kind of like thing we said about the last channel, but there's just so much there that's like similar.
Well, that's what I mean by creators should have their channel to hand as we're auditing it, because we've seen like a repeated challenge for the creator where the channel focus. It's kind of acceptable in a sense if you are a new creator, and as Sean said, you're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. But this creator, I think, has been on YouTube now for several years at this point, and there still doesn't really seem to be a strong focus, which means that the audience isn't very sticky, as it looks here, as we're looking at the most recent videos.
Yeah,
and that is Charlie B Gaming. Then let's move on to the next channel. And this is from first impressions, very easy to see. This is Buff Base Outdoors, a fishing channel. And Sean, I think this was your pre-selected channel. If you want to lead off with this one and tell us what you found out here.
Yeah, so love the clarity, really good, strong cover image and logo. I do like the avatar. I think the avatar could maybe be a little bit clearer. The text kind of disappears, but overall, the channel branding is really great. And they've been on the climb. If you look at the vidIQ stats, there's 853% view growth in the last 28 days and 384% subscriber growth. So a lot of good things have been happening. The full-length video thumbnails, I think, are pretty crispy. Some of them could be a little more distinct, but I like how they're doing the yellow light outline and kind of the point of view, or showing off, like the pliers or whatever there. But I actually wanted to kind of bring this up for discussion because if you look at their most popular videos, it is pages or lines of shorts until you get to a longer form video. And I think it's kind of interesting. Clearly that's attributing to growth, but my thought is what kind of growth? And recently at VidCon, Mr. Beast sat down with Todd from YouTube, and they talked about how shorts were not talking to long form. But I know here on the vidIQ tab, you shared a tweet that Todd shared that they made the first bridge. And so I was curious, being with you experts, your thought, and for, I think the channel's doing a lot of things right. In my opinion, our conversation could be about content strategy. Do you double down on shorts? Is it trying to have more depth in the long form? And I'll throw out one more piece of information out there too. Reed Desher had a really great interview with Colin and Samir. He's Mr. Beast manager. And he actually thinks that the creator economy recession is going to hit shorts the hardest because what he noticed was that even TikTok creators and sometimes shorts creators, they're getting the most views on, if you look at the channels that are growing the most, but they're not necessarily creating the greatest connection with an audience. There was creators at VidCon who had 30 million TikTok followers and nobody showed up for their meetup. And so I'm curious, for what your take is on a channel like this, where you would try to double down. Shorts are over-indexing views. So it kind of is a reinforcement that you'd want to do more of that, when maybe if you're trying to really build a deeper audience, should you be thinking about long form?
Just before we have that conversation, just to explain a little bit more what Sean was talking about there. Shorts tend to be an easier route to quick views. You see this one, which has 7,000 views. But the problem is with the recommendation system for a while is that when somebody watches a short, it doesn't necessarily mean that same viewer is going to be recommended your long form content. And so we lead to these very spiky views. And YouTube are trying to address that and have made the first step. And we talked about that a little bit. I am still really confused with shorts because I don't know if it's the same for you, Sean, but on our main channel, when we publish shorts, we get a lot of our traffic weirdly from outside of a shorts feed on our shorts. We get it through browse and suggested and search. And so that really confuses me as to still the delineation of the audience. And, as you say, if the recession is really going to hit the shorts creators, should you go down that route? And it feels to me as if when you're consuming shorts, you're very much consuming the content as opposed to the person who created it. So building brands and the personality, I think, can be really tricky, especially when I guess the assumption, at least from my point of view, is whenever I watch a short, half the time I'm asking the question, where did the original content come from? You know, a clip on a montage, was it just lifted from another source, or did it originate from the creator themselves? And I think trying to brand yourself and being very individual in a short space is a challenge. Dan Vipers, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
I think when you talk about like, okay, should people be doubling down on shorts or long form videos? I actually would say now is the time to find the balance between your shorts and your long form videos, because Todd's tweets specified there was a word that almost flew under the radar for me, and it was the word recent. Shorts will now bridge the gap, and your long form videos are getting recommended now to people who watch shorts, but he used the word recent. Your recent long form videos are getting recommended, which means if you're like me and you've just been kind of doing shorts because shorts are fun, you realize very quickly, oh gosh, I haven't uploaded a long form video in some time. So I think, and someone else tweeted, like, now's the time to stop putting shorts on a separate channel, which I agree with that too, as long as the long form videos are similar to the short form videos, because now it's going to work, hopefully, like all the rest of YouTube. If you upload a fishing video as your long form video, but your shorts are more like a day in the life, and you're walking your dog and you're getting the mail and you're getting your groceries and you're just kind of talking, that's not really what people watch the fishing videos for. So people might enjoy those shorts, get recommended your fishing videos, and completely ignore them because they don't watch fishing. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of words basically to say, I would say long form videos would be something to now double down on, because you have permission. You know, YouTube's going to start recommending those again.
Viper?
Yeah, there's been a hot topic lately about how people are having trouble building audiences with short form content, and it makes sense. You're talking about being on a piece of content for anywhere from 15 to 60 seconds. Pretty hard to get a grasp of how you feel about the creator as a person, what that creator's about, and just things that we rely on that you would normally get in a longer form video that will give you a chance to bond with that creator. You just don't get that in short form content. So Todd's tweet and the fact that YouTube is now trying to bridge the long form and the short form content is good, especially for creators that are worrying about building a viable, sustainable community, even though they might enjoy doing short, but beforehand, that wasn't really a gauge to get them that what the word I'm looking for, that strong audience, that bond. It's kind of harder to get that with short form content, but now that the bridge exists, and hopefully YouTube continues to improve upon it, yeah, like Dan said, now will be the time to start maybe diving in more with short form content, especially if you have those long form videos on the channel to back that up.
Now, when I go to the first videos on the channel, and again, Sean, I think we'll agree that the standard of the thumbnails and the titling strategy, all this seems pretty solid for long form content. And, you know, for a new channel, I would be perfectly happy with these view counts, you know, nearly 500 views, 500 views, 100 views, 200 views, all fairly strong stuff. But I'm wondering, like, the first short they made got 20,000 views, and I'm wondering if that was just like, oh, this is where the juice is. I'm addicted to these views. I'm gonna go over to these shorts, and now perhaps there's a distraction. Could you call this a distraction or that? I don't know. I'm wondering if they continue to make just long form content, they may only have like 400 or 500 subscribers, but they'll be getting 400, 500 views per video. It's a really tough conversation the creator might have to have with themselves.
Yeah, I like that you said that. You know, this is one of my favorite conversations. Whenever you have a breakout video on YouTube, you have to be really careful because it can go to your head and kind of make you delusional, and you lose your baseline. And so sometimes also after a breakout video, when you go back down, people have this weird crash. It's like an emotional crash. They take it personally. They think the algorithm's broken. They wonder what's wrong with them. They think that you attribute meaning to different things that are happening. Whereas I think the big key is understanding what exactly are you hoping to accomplish. And of course, one of our things we're very passionate on Think Media, our YouTube channel, is really connecting your YouTube channel to building a profitable business. It's thinking about what's your money plan, what's your business plan. And to that point, depth a lot of times is where the bigger opportunity is, whether it's your fishing community, channel memberships with extra content, whether it's a course or something you make related to fishing, whether it's fishing retreats you potentially do. As people connect with you, to Viper's point, and they really connect with your personality, to your point, you're seeing a lot of 1,000 viewed videos, but you only need a couple 500 views a video to potentially build a very significant high impact business. So knowing the why behind what you're doing and not just chasing views and getting into that dopamine, oxytocin, weird brain chemicals that start happening when the YouTube algorithm messes with your logic and causes you to kind of get a little bit delusional.
So we've talked a lot here without necessarily any conclusions for this channel. I mean, maybe we don't have any solid strategies. More, does this creator need to ask themselves some questions? If they're wanting to build a business, do they need to maybe change the cadence of the content? Because right now it looks to be probably half and half, as many shorts as there are long form content. Maybe they need to do more long form content and maybe one short a week to get out of this, what we might call an addiction. Like Dan, Viper, Sean, like what questions do you think this creator may need to ask themselves?
I would be asking myself like goals, where do I want to be? Do I want to build this, like, I think it should always start with goals. I was about to go off on a whole nother tangent. That's what I'd be asking myself. What do you want out of your channel?
I mean, this is good. Just looking at the description, it looks like this channel is setting itself up to be a business. They've got affiliate links. They've got merch. I guess it's sort of like a tip me thing with PayPal. Sean, you'd be looking at all of this and saying, for a channel of this size, they're doing everything right to set themselves up for a sustainable business to run the channel.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, then. And so that is Buff Base Outdoors. So we welcome that channel onto the live stream. And we kind of want to officially welcome Sean on as well, because, Sean, I just did a poll asking simply, do you know who Sean Think Media is? And according to this, 45% of people are not actually aware of you, even though we do so much collabing. So maybe you just want to formally introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit more about what you do here on YouTube.
Yeah, what's up, vidIQ community? My name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel. And yes, started a channel. I started shooting videos in my bedroom about 10 years ago, talking about cameras, tech, lighting, reviews of kind of gear and lenses. I was shooting wedding videos at the time and hip hop music videos near Seattle, Washington. And it's turned into a team of creators now. And so we have Omar El Takori and Heather Torres and Nolan Molt, all creating videos on our channel, Think Media. And if you like to listen to podcasts, we actually have a brand new book out, an audiobook and physical book and ebook called YouTube Secrets. The second edition is out now, 80 new pages, really a lot of changed chapters. We deleted a chapter, changed a chapter, added 2 more chapters, updated all the stats, all the details. And so any format, whether you like digital, whether you like audio. In fact, if you listen to, if you've never downloaded Audible before, you can get it for free. You just go to tubesecretsaudio.com. Or just go to Audible and look the book up. And just for a trial, they'll give you the book free, no money at all. It's I think you'll really enjoy it. We've interviewed over 200 different entrepreneurs and YouTube creators, learning their secrets, and we've put those into the book. And other than that, I'm a father with another boy on the way. I have an almost 2-year-old, and then I've got another boy due in 6 days. And so pray for me. Nice to meet you, and excited to review some more channels.
So Sean's Think Media channel is linked in the description. And yeah, you can get the book now for just $5 on Kindle, or completely free on audiobook if you're a new customer. And like, I always like the number of ratings. If you're getting 4.5 stars with 2,000 plus ratings and you're the #1 bestseller, I think that's all the validation you need there, Sean. So congratulations on the success of the book as well.
Oh, thank you.
All right, then let's get back to some channel auditing as we continue to see what's on offer from what's been submitted. The next channel we're going to look at here is Unbox with Karen. Dan, Viper, who?
This was me.
This was you, Dan. All right. And so tell us a little bit more about what Karen might be unboxing on her channel.
I was very intrigued because in the description when they sent their channel, they said they did subscription unboxings, which
okay.
Right. So they sign up for these different subscription services, and that's akin to kind of doing reviews, I would say, of the different subscription services. So now you have like a lot of really interesting content opportunities here being sent to your door every month. What I wanted to talk about was thumbnails mostly this time around. I think that the thumbnails are doing the content a bit of an injustice, and that is, I think, where I would like to focus. For example, there was one here, International Advent Calendar for 2022. Very simple thumbnail with some text and like one subject, right? Just like, here's a picture of what I assume is in the box. That video did substantially better in the last few days than a lot of the other videos on the channel.
A bit of a question on timing.
Yes.
It feels like exactly the wrong time to do this unboxing. But the thumbnail, the strength of the thumbnail is meaning it's getting more clicks.
Yes. So I think in this case, like, because you've taken half of the frame of most of your thumbnails and put your face on them, it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for the real subject of the video, which is going to be the box and or what's inside it.
Yeah.
So I think what I would be testing, if I was starting this channel from scratch right now, I would be testing two different types of thumbnails. I would be testing thumbnails that show the box itself with the recognizable brand imaging on it. And I'd be testing thumbnails that have the box, like this one, the second one here, opened, you know, to show what's inside of it rather than just the front of it, because some of the boxes are quite boring. And then maybe even the third type, because a lot of these creators are putting themselves in the thumbnail where they are in the thumbnail, but it's a little more clear what you're looking at. A lot of the thumbnails we're seeing have a lot more emotion. The creators are there, and they you can see their face, and they, you know, they're almost giving their opinion of the box in the thumbnail, you know, or what you would perceive as their opinion. So this is like just doing this one search here is like eye-opening. I'm already seeing like a lot of really great ideas, and I think it's time for this creator to do the same for themselves. And the last thing I'll say about thumbnails is that the text that you've chosen to use, it's okay to have some text, but like, it's so small, it's hard to read in a lot of cases, and you've tried to cram way too many words. I'd be using 3 words max just to help emphasize whatever emotion that you're trying to get across. But yeah, there's like full-blown sentences on some of these thumbnails.
It's just at the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially this one, like, that's what, 8 words, and a timestamp is covering quite a bit of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the channel focus is down, which is great. I'm assuming that you're subscribing to boxes that, like, again, the same kind of person would maybe subscribe to time and time again. So I'm going to, without seeing any of the videos, I'm going to have to assume that you're doing that research, and you're like, okay, if you like subscription service A, you'll probably enjoy subscription service B. So, and even if that's not the case, you can just be the subscription box channel. Like, you could probably do all kinds and build your credibility that way. A lot of them showing up in search. So a lot of different ways you could take this, but I think click-through rate is going to be the biggest thing this channel needs to work on going forward.
Viper, Sean, any more observations?
Yeah, I think the insight on the thumbnails is pretty powerful. And I think everybody watching, again, one of the best things you could do is potentially invest in like a softbox lighting kit. If you have a smartphone, watch a couple tutorials about how to boost up your contrast, your vibrance, your brightness, learn a little bit about photography. Your smartphone's good enough, but accessorizes it a little bit. Canva also, you know, I recently actually, we have an Airbnb as a side note, but like my camera was gone. I haven't got I have this really fancy R6 camera with this really fancy lens, but I was like, I'm just going to go take a picture for Airbnb to make it pop, you know, and on my phone. And I did a sky replacement. You could do the cutout background. So if you want to cut yourself out, I'm like, Canva's too good, man. I don't need the magic wand in Photoshop. And then I went and just got a sunset and this photo, and then I popped the photo a little bit with some brightness. So you could get a lot further with your phone. But what I would look into is potentially not just opening the box, but pulling out like one item and potentially having like that item. There's thumbnails. I'll find one if you come back to me. If you go to like Dope or Nope, can you bring up the Dope or Nope channel and look at some of the thumbnails. I think, you know, one item could potentially be highlighted in this case, and the simplicity of these thumbnails really pop, right? And it's kind of obviously the simplicity of the background. And I heard there was like this rule of three. Nolan Molt did this thing about, you know, Netflix thumbnails. And the rule of three being you've got the character, you've got the item, and that's it. Or maybe you have the character, the item, and arrow. And so anyways, yeah, highlighting maybe one item, maybe having the box behind it or the one item. And so that's
maybe not these ones. They're a bit chaotic. I'm trying to find a good example of from the makeup genre, which we could maybe use as a reference point.
You maybe could do like, you could just do like one. So you make serum. Let me come up with something. Look up a serum or look up an eyeshadow. Because unboxing kind of speaks to the whole box. So what's interesting is this philosophy is also kind of like, we do full studio tours, and this is always a challenge because it's so busy. How do you make the zoomed out shot look good? So I think what we're trying to a lot of times do is we're trying to think about how do we get someone to click and get into the video and have the rest of it be revealed? What is one piece of the complete story?
Yeah.
And so in terms of, yes, you're doing a complete unboxing, but maybe there's like one or two items that you highlight. Maybe you take them sitting on top of the box, and you may not need to be in the photo. I think that's something to experiment with as well, that the product could be the hero in some cases. But that's going to give you a major bang for your buck, because these are definitely, and the light kit too, just a softbox light, or I mean, get some lamps from around the house. The light hitting your face is pretty muted. It's pretty dark. And so you could make the whole thing pop a little bit more, and that would help.
I think we'd all agree that just from how the thumbnails look, you're always drawn to the face, which is fairly neutral in expression. And
I
then
was
you
just about to say that, Rob. If you're going to put your face in the thumbnail, you got to have some type of expression, some type of emotion, just a neutral thing. It's not going to get it done. Again, especially when you're first starting out, because people don't know you, they don't recognize you. So you better give them some added incentive to click on the thumbnail, which means you better be expressing some type of emotion, whether you're really happy or really sad or really pissed. Give us some emotion if you're going to put your face in the thumbnail.
From the face, you may be looking at the box, then you're looking at the text at the top, and then the extra text at the bottom. And by that point, you've been looking at the thumbnail for 5 or 6 seconds. And I think Nolan, again, when he was talking about thumbnails, he was mentioning that the average time spent looking at a thumbnail is like 1.8 seconds. And if you can't communicate the crux of the content in that time, the viewer's probably already swiped and moved on. So these thumbnails need a lot of decoding, I would suggest. And I think over the last 5 or 10 minutes, we've been discussing all these different ideas. Hopefully, Karen, you can incrementally take these on board. Like, the first thing you might want to do is, the easiest thing is maybe removing some of the text, then looking at improving the face to object ratio, because it feels as if the face is too powerful for me at this point. And as Sean suggested, maybe even removing the face. So that is unboxing with Karen. Let's move on to the next channel. And this is Justin Lee. This must mean, Viper, this is the one that you picked before we went live. So if you want to introduce us to Justin and what he's up to.
Yeah, so Justin has a marine review or a channel, or he worked at a marina or something like that. But it seems like he's doing decently. I mean, he has almost a little over 1,500 subscribers, so he's on the right path. But the thing that sticks out to me right away is these episode numbers. It even has them in the thumbnail. Like, we talk about it so many times on this channel that when you put those episode numbers in your thumbnail like that and your title, you kind of make the viewer feel like they have to go back and watch other stuff if they're going to get the full context of that video. And that might turn a lot of people off, because look, he's up to episode 184. I don't know about y'all, but I am not going back and watching 183 previous videos to get to 184. I'm not doing that. So you might want to consider just removing episode numbers from your video. If you're really worried about making sure your videos are watched in a particular order, put them in a playlist, y'all. But don't have that stuff in the thumbnail or in the title, because you're turning people off. Just put them in a playlist and let them stand on their own. And then if the viewer wants to watch more, then they have that playlist to go to so they can watch more of your content.
We got Jake Thomas's take on episode numbers in titles last week. So let's throw it over to Sean. Yay, nay, meh on episode numbers in titles and thumbnails? What's your general advice?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the biggest mindsets that it's important to adopt is that every video should stand alone. I think it just echoing Viper. And I think the connections of the content can still be there, but they should be under prioritized. So you don't want to do anything that would limit one video from being suggested, from being found in search, and from being the entry point. It's having the mentality that one video could be the entry point into your world. Now, maybe the way you end the video is you're like, I'm signing off for episode 183. And you've got a diehard group of people that are like kind of tracking with that. But that is underemphasized. This kind of taps into our world of, we're doing a video podcast right now, and we are determining whether, okay, what do we lead with? How do you video podcast according to YouTube's rules when you do have episode numbers? On Spotify and Apple, we put the episode number up front. It's 145, 144. Yeah. And so you actually can go through that library, but it's understanding the context of the room. So yeah, I think that the episode number detracts from it. And I think Jake Thomas is brilliant, right, from Creator Hooks. And so even when I look at some of these, if these thumbnails hit a little bit harder and the title, maybe say on the 2017 Stamus 390, like if the title led with like, you gotta see this, 20, like something a little bit more, like even that first one, like Will It Run, is kind of interesting. These titles seem very just like logical and kind of facts-based. They just kind of, they're like document notes. They're like the beginning of a journal entry. But if you really want to trigger some significant growth and bring in new audience, I think thinking about the title thumbnail combination, thinking about leading with meeting strangers, and like thinking about the way the video hooks, the way that the information is released. And then that's not to say that maybe the episode number doesn't have, maybe it's at the end of the title, because I know the title should be around 60 characters, but if they're longer, it's just the idea that like the 60 characters is the money moment that everyone's going to see. And when it's cut off, and maybe the information is put at the end. That's what we do with our video podcast. We sort of try to lead with a strong title, and then it's hashtag Think Media Podcast and maybe the show number on YouTube. And there's times where I'm like, skip it. I skip things like part 1, part 2, because I'm like, this is going to be found in isolation. In the video itself, I can educate to say like, this is part 2, go find part 1. But I try to honor the viewer that any one video could be their entry point.
You know what we've joked about before, Sean, where you say success leaves clues, make part 2. And I've always added on, but don't put that in the title.
It's true.
If we were going to sort of role play, then we just take out episode 184, and we probably use this in the thumbnail, like, because you're seeing a complicated piece of equipment in the thumbnail, and a simple question, is this going to work? Or like, this might be, it was only less than $5,000, or this is bound to sink, or something that creates a little tension, intrigue, curiosity. Episode numbers are just very functional. And it's similar to like having file names, or like some SEO reason for having it, where you want to appeal far more to the viewer's curiosity, as opposed to anything that's going to help YouTube index this piece of content in some sort of particular order. And also, why is every single episode number using a different font and color? That confuses me as well. What I will say though is, I wouldn't be surprised in the short term if this creator made this change, they actually may lose some regular viewers, because they're so entrenched in the idea of seeing a thumbnail with an episode number, they may not realize it's from this creator in the short term. Because if you look at the view counts, they are incredibly consistent. Like we were talking about the channels at the beginning of this live stream having very spiky views, and that fishing channel having spiky views. I think this is an example of a channel that's not decided to do shorts. They've got 1,500 subscribers, but look at the view counts, like 900, 500, 700, 400, 400, 500, 300. Super consistency. Are really in touch with their audience with every single video that they make, which is fantastic. And I want to credit the creator for doing that.
There's a show, you were asking about shows earlier. There's a show called Black Mirror. And it's one of these shows that you don't need to pick it up at any particular point. You can watch any episode from any season and they all stand on their own. And when it comes to vlog channels like this, I kind of feel like it's the same. Like there's just no reason to, for all we know, there's no reason to link these together. Especially if they just tell like their own complete story. So if you're worried that you need to link them together, maybe a previously on would help. I was going to say about like the thumbnail we were looking at, like it said, will it run? And we said, oh, that would be great text for the thumbnail, which I agree. I don't know what he's pointing to. Like from thumbnail size, that engine looks like just dark, plastic stuff. And I think it would have been better to have, speaking of a title that complements the thumbnail and vice versa, it would have been better to have a boat or a car, or whatever the engine's to, and then the arrow pointing at it. Will it run? It's implied that it's an engine. So again, like I think they need to appreciate the thumbnail process a little bit more as a whole. Just like I just don't want to see them simply remove episode numbers from their next video and call it a day. Like let your thumbnails and your titles complement one another. Like find creative ways, put those interesting statements in the thumbnail, the drama, like the real drama behind what's going on today. Like put that in the thumbnail, tease that something might go wrong. There's a lot you can do there. But yeah, just wanted to add that 2 cents.
Incredible consistency. And I've included the episode number literally in every single thumbnail. And I hope we haven't gone too much overboard on that one topic and the creators thinking, yeah, I can fix that. What else do I need to do?
Right. Well, you just clicked on their video, and tomorrow that's what we'll be doing is we'll actually be going into the content itself and doing some video reviews. So, perhaps this channel pops up again. Who knows?
All right, the next channel we are going to look at is the Sushi Traveler. I do apologize if it is lunchtime and this is going to make you hungry because these thumbnails, or some of them at least, literally jump out of the screen and try and encourage you to have this food. They're approaching 7,000 subscribers, and you may see in the top right-hand corner, this has a little bit of a logo called vidIQ Max. This is one of our Max students that we're auditing. Now we'll tell you a little bit about that later on, but I'm going to throw it over to you, Sean, for just your initial impressions on this channel.
I mean, like, I'm just clearly the graphic design skills are pretty amazing with the fire, with the 3-dimension. You could definitely see almost some maybe a little bit of touch up work, a little bit of glow on the face, or certainly the lighting. Very attracting, especially that one too. Like those pieces of sushi. If you look at the other one, like that's the other one. The other one.
Sorry,
with the bit. No, sorry, those ones right there. Like, so those aren't probably very big pieces of sushi, but that's a great. That's like a visual. What do you call it? Like a mirage, or you call it like where the sushi is so close to the camera. That's actually a trick of how fishermen make their fish look bigger. They hide their hands. They use a wide angle lens. So those things like that, larger than life. And he's doing that. He's moving the sushi close to the camera. He's further away. Definitely loving those. Good niche too. And I think it'll be interesting to also explore the interaction of both shorts and long form. They both seem to be doing strong. Shorts overperforming maybe a little bit in views. Let's hit the vidIQ stats though. Let's look at the stats over here.
Growing well. Good.
Yeah, we're growing. 9 uploads. Everything's green. Go for green, we like to say, as we always look at vidIQ. So yeah. I mean, I love what I'm seeing here. The consistency is good. The brand is good. There's one of those things where I think small tweaks lead to giant peaks. From here, a lot of things seem to be going really good, and it's just a matter of staying consistent, and the growth will keep coming. But I'm sure there's also some opportunities to do some, small tweaks that could even take this to the next level.
Controversial opinion, maybe. Do you think the thumbnails might be a little overdone? And what I mean by that is that if in this one, I only see whatever this is when I use the zoom feature. And if there's flames, there's text, there's him, there's sushi, there's like 4 or 5 elements. In this one, there's all you can eat. There's a price, which isn't that big. There's sushi there, there's sushi here. I'm just wondering maybe if they're designed in a very high standard, but they're designed on a 40-inch widescreen monitor, and everyone else is seeing it at postage stamp size.
Yeah, no, they are a little busy. And we'll go to let's check out most popular.
Yep.
Yeah, I think simplicity could definitely be powerful. Back to like the dope or nope example, one-off roll. In fact, it's interesting. It's even not the prettiest one compared to some of the other ones, but the second most viewed long form video is one roll. That's also, and it's that's a really good story. That's how I roll. There's the roll. A lot of some white space around it or some margin around it. The third most popular video, just the sea urchin. So that is interesting. But then there's obviously some others that have performed well that are kind of in that all you can eat, and that all you can eat energy is kind of that like full energy, kind of like those unboxing videos you looked up. It's like, oh, there's a lot happening here that sort of also tells the story. What's your take, Dan Viper?
Even the thumbnails that are showing a lot of sushi.
Love that one.
I love that one. They're like when they have the big boat, for example.
Creator, not in thumbnail, in the most popular ones.
Yeah,
generally speaking.
Just going off of the amount of elements, like I wasn't surprised at all to see the one that was just the roll and just a little bit of text being like the most popular long form video. I think the one to the right on the second row, all you can eat sushi. There's like two things going on there. The other one on the right side. Sorry.
Oh, this one. Sorry.
No, yeah, that one. Okay. So two things going on. So you have all the sushi, and I think having it laid out like that is important because it's showing it's a lot, and it needs to for an all-you-can-eat thumbnail. But the text kind of covers the sushi. So now you have like two things in focus. You have the text in focus, and you have the sushi in focus. And so if you're going to use text on a thumbnail like that, I just think it should be smaller. I think the sushi should be the star, especially because all you can eat is in the title. And so even if they go back to not putting their face in the thumbnails in the future, I just think that you just got to watch out because this is something like sushi is something that when you photograph it, there's a lot of detail, and especially the way that it's plated. And so you want to make sure that is like the star. That's the stuff that is the eye candy to people and they want to click, in my opinion. But yeah, when like Sean, you were pointing out like they look like a graphic designer. I completely agree. But I also agree with Rob. I think that these were probably made in a much larger format. And when you shrink them down and all that detail gets crunched into one little box, it's hard for our eyes to focus on like exactly the thing you want us to see. Like the sushi, like the flames. Rob, you notice like the little torch thing. I'm noticing the flames. It's hard to see the big, huge sushi rolls in front of the creator because the flames are taking away like from that. Like it's just kind of becoming like a blob of color. And that's what I would want to avoid.
Any general thoughts on titles? I guess one that jumps out to me, which is intriguing, is that you tend to think of sushi as relatively inexpensive, but if you're going to spend $300 on a sushi boat, that's kind of intriguing, and there's a big curiosity there. I'm going to click on that one. And eating entire hand roll, that seems interesting. And then we just have food sushi mukbang, very functional, not much excitement in there. What are we thinking? Are the titles of a decent standard? Do we need to mix things up here? What do we think?
I'd be trying some stuff, I think. I like where these titles are. I just think that I would be experimenting a little more.
Yeah, it seems like if I'm thinking about the strategy, so I just looked at like kind of some predictions, the most in like the sushi niche, just from typing sushi in the YouTube search bar. So mukbang is the most desired sushi recipes. This channel seems to be doing a little bit of it all. They're trying sushi in Los Angeles, the world's most expensive, down to cheaper, down to mukbang, down to some tutorials. And so then I would imagine the end goal is to kind of just build a culture, all things sushi. If you're in, a community that's just like wants to make their own sushi, learn about sushi, find places to eat sushi, and then hopefully be entertained by the content. Chances are you're not going to be in Vegas, Arizona, or LA. You may not travel at all to those places, but is the content still interesting? So that's kind of where I go, because I do think one of the biggest opportunities with any channel, though, is to potentially look for like viral angles. If you want to go viral, to look for like maybe an entertaining, outrageous angle and make a video kind of. Some mukbangs can do that, depending on the way it's edited. It could be kind of crazy, kind of goes back to that epic mealtime type of editing style. But is that your goal? Is that what you're after? Or is it more practical and tutorials? Those should just be strategy questions as to, what is it you ultimately, and I guess if he is sushi traveler, you're tying sushi into the fact that you're also going to be traveling different places. And so I'm just kind of wrapping my head around that, and I suppose we're looking at what it is. It would seem monetization wise, okay, you could join. We could click join button and see, what are they? Channel memberships. There's a $2 level. There's a $6 level, $15 level. So maybe just kind of, and then eventually hoping brand deal. So maybe if the goal is the growth, these are the questions I'd ask. Okay, start with the end in mind. What do you want to happen that would maybe have this reach your dreams? So brand deals, people are flying you out to try sushi. You have enough views and AdSense to hit your financial goals. And then you potentially have a certain number of channel memberships. And then I'd work backwards from what kind of content would potentially map to those ambitions. And that's kind of how I like to think about things.
I also wanted to credit the channel for diversifying their content. I think this is a second channel called Grub Pro, where they look at fast food mukbangs, pizzas, Domino's, McDonald's, Burger King. But that's all very much separated from a dedicated sushi mukbang channel, because I've not seen a sushi mukbang channel before. So I think they've very much identified a gap in the market and they're trying to seize on it. So I want to credit them for the right sort of channel focus. I'll leave a final thoughts to you, Viper, if you have any on this one.
No, so when you guys were talking about the thumbnail being potentially too busy, I was looking at the most popular videos on his channel, and a few of those videos were where the thumbnails were pretty simplistic. So I think you guys were onto something with the thumbnail might be a little too busy. Sometimes less is more, you all. Keep it simple, make it easy for the viewer to understand what your video is going to be about, and you're going to get the click.
So that was the Sushi Traveler, one of our vidIQ Max students. And here's a little bit of insider information. The reason they were picked is because they have a somewhat hidden perk. We don't openly advertise this, although I kind of am now in front of 700 people. They don't get access to this special audit form where they can submit, and sometimes we pick from this audit form, and there's only 41 people on it because he's one of vidIQ Max members. It's a secret access form, whereas many of you are having to fight against 650 people on the non-gaming form and another 600 people on the gaming form. That's 1,200 people. So that is just one of the perks at vidIQ Max. But what we also have are bi-weekly conversations about different YouTube aspects. We've had Jake Thomas talking about titles. We had Todd, a YouTube employee, on a couple of weeks ago talking about the algorithm. And I believe, Sean, you and the Think Media team are going to be doing a couple in the near future. Have we decided on the topics, or we just know that we're having you on soon?
I don't think we've decided on the topics yet, but I can't wait. I do need to mention one thing, and that's just that I'm slightly offended because you schedule these 2-hour streams. It's right at lunchtime, and then you bring up Sushi Traveler and his 2 channels, and I've lost total focus. Like, all I can think about is really the grub one. I was going to like Chick-fil-A for a spicy chicken sandwich, some waffle fries, some Polynesian sauce, buffalo sauce, ranch, and then just eating myself into a food coma. But anyways, back to you. Yes, I'm excited to be together soon.
Totally understandable. So what Sean's conversation, I think, is going to be on vidIQ Max is how to build up your food channel empire. I think that's what's on his mind right now. So yeah, vidIQ Max, not only does it have all of his perks and his sessions, but we have the most incredible Discord server. I think there's hundreds of people in there talking about nothing but YouTube growth. And again, I don't want to suggest this is a perk, but after we had Todd on from YouTube talking about the algorithm, just on his own volition, he's just decided to stick around, and he's answering questions about the YouTube algorithm in the Discord channel. And he put some really fascinating posts about how people interpret the algorithm. And he explained it in a very interesting way that I don't want to tease here because it goes into a lot more detail. But if you want to find out what that is, then obviously join the vidIQ Max program. And you've got a link now that's running across the bottom, because we have a very special offer on at the moment whereby you can pay just $69 per month on an annual plan, as opposed to a $99 per month if you're on a monthly plan. So that's effectively from the highest cost price of vidIQ Max. It's a 30% discount. The link is there with the promo code. Or if you go to our video description, there is a link that will take you directly to the price page, and it will apply that discount for you, so you don't have to do any of the legwork, and you get all of these amazing vidIQ Max bonuses, benefits, and coaching from us. But with all of that being said, thank you for allowing us to offer this extra service. We appreciate that not all of you can afford it. This is why we continue to do our free live streams every single week, and we will continue to do that with SAC or SAC Sports Adventure. I think, Sean, this was another one you picked beforehand. Tell us a little bit about what we can see here.
Yeah, so SAC Sports Adventures is Spencer traveling around North America, visiting sports stadiums and reviewing his game day experience. So he's kind of got a stadium reviews series. He also loves collecting jerseys and showcasing a jersey collection. Adventuring has always been one of my passions, so I'll post random adventures. So I love the vision, and I just love this idea too of, I actually think that there's a lot of potential for growth on this channel. I think that it's turning your passion into profit, or turning your passion in something that can connect with other people is incredible, and that can be seen here. I think that the opportunity is to definitely, I think thumbnails could use some work. I think maybe the angle of content strategy could use some work. But I think something that's also interesting, and this is kind of a niche piece of advice for those in the US, because that's all that I can speak to. But I think people really underestimate the power of starting a side business and a hobby YouTube channel, and the tax advantages that can come from that. One of my favorite books is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's not a new book. It's a classic book that shifted my thinking. And you start looking into the idea that, like, all your flights, all your hotels, all your food, and all your travel to these places, because you started a news channel, you know, reviewing these. And of course, you got to connect with a CPA. But while most people would pay for all of this enjoyment, because this is one of your passions, with post-tax dollars, taxes is the biggest bill that anybody watching this ultimately pays, unless you don't make money, or you're under a certain amount. So interesting to really, I think the first thing, and I'll leave it to y'all, because I know you can work, we could work on titles and thumbnails, but I think the first thing is maybe just a shift in mindset to say, you've done a great job getting this thing launched. There's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of passionate fans that are waiting for you, that'd be interested in this. Sports is a great niche. The theme makes sense. But I would encourage you to really think, like Jay-Z put it this way. He said, "I'm not a businessman. I am a business, man. I'm a business." And so when you're a YouTube creator, you want to think like, I am a business. And that's a different mindset in terms of the way you set things up, and the fact that you could take write-offs. And if anything, that just zeroes out your expense on cameras. Like vidIQ Max is a write-off. Cameras are a write-off. Courses are a write-off. Travel to events that are related to YouTube is a write-off. And when it's directly related to your content, so I know anyways, we're going to go, actually, tomorrow I'm speaking this week to our CPA. If anybody wants to geek out more on this on our podcast, we're doing a deep dive, 3-episode deep dive on this. And you might be sitting here and be like, Sean, I'm making no money. I'm just starting. But I will encourage you, in 2007 or 8, when I learned this, it shifted my thinking and changed the trajectory of my entire life. I just started, I was thinking different, think media. I started to think different. I started to think like, okay, what am I building? How am I building it? And thinking about the business underneath my YouTube channel.
Let's go into the channel itself a little bit, now that this person is hopefully going to be able to recoup hundreds of thousands of dollars from all of the traveling that they clearly do.
Yes.
Like thumbnails. Let's start off with maybe you, Viper. Like, I know you're probably seething right now. I can feel the Viper Richter scale now ticking off, like red text on thumbnails and whatnot.
I'm not seething. we don't have enough time. Like, we do not have enough time left in this live stream to go through all the ways that these thumbnails could be improved. But here's what I will say. When your thumbnails are inside the stadium, so like a lot of these thumbnails are inside.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell what stadium, when you're inside the stadium, they look alike. They look alike. I mean, if you've seen one stadium, you've seen them all. What you might want to consider doing is taking nice pictures of the outside of the stadium, because there are some things that are happening outside that make those stadiums uniquely them.
Sure.
If you go to Wrigley Field in Chicago, there are statues outside of Wrigley Field of, I think, Ernie Banks, Harry Carey, and other Cubs legends. And a lot of stadiums have things like that happening outside of the stadium. So I would say maybe instead of taking these pictures and using them inside of the stadium for thumbnails, take pictures of outside of the stadium. I mean, I think in one of these thumbnails, you went to the Big House, which is in Michigan, Ann Arbor. If you take a picture of outside of that stadium, there's a big old M on the outside. And anybody that looks at that knows that that is the University of Michigan. But if you're taking a picture of inside of it, it could be the University of Michigan, it could be Notre Dame, it could be Wisconsin, we don't know. So consider taking pictures of the stadiums outside, and I think you might do a little bit better with these thumbnails.
Dan, thoughts?
Fantastic tip. I would definitely do that. And then from there, I would take the text off. Yeah. Because the text you're using on the thumbnail simply says stadium review. And it also says it in the title. And it's kind of the whole premise of the channel. And so there's no need to like reiterate. It's, let the stadium that you're now going to be taking a picture from the outside of, let that be the star of the thumbnail, and then go into your, Canva, Photoshop, whatever you use for thumbnails, and start playing with the settings. Maybe use a couple tutorials to get you up to speed, because a lot of these images kind of feel just kind of flat. Like stadiums pride themselves on having the greenest grass. So I'm not seeing that in these pictures. I feel like I know the saturation's just kind of low. Sometimes they're too dark. Like there needs to be some work done to these as well, other than just logo and stadium review. I am a fan of the sports team's logo on the thumbnail somewhere too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would kind of test that for sure. But stadium review is kind of just detracting from it, especially if you start taking these photos differently.
So my thought on this channel is how to make this content more accessible to more casual sports fans. Because if you look at the videos earlier on, they're from large baseball stadiums, Cincinnati Reds, Wrigley Field, Cleveland Browns, Lambeau Field, so American football as well. And the most recent videos are from, I would say, more provincial teams. Like I know the Spokane Indians. I know I'm in BC, but that's a Washington town, right? Sean, I know you're from that area as well.
Spokane, Washington.
Yeah, Spokane, Washington. Yeah, is Cedar Rapids, is that in Washington as well, or is that somewhere else?
Cedar Rapids. I'm not sure.
Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I would be in
Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Okay, so different smaller teams in the US. Now, I am familiar with the Cleveland Browns, the Green Bay Packers, Milwaukee Bucks, etc., etc. But I've not heard of any of these smaller teams, which means I don't necessarily care about them. So what I'm wondering is that how could you pitch this video slightly differently to make me interested? And it might go back to Viper's concept of finding something unique or original within these stadiums. Maybe it has the tallest floodlights, or the longest hot dog, or the smallest hot dog, or the cheapest one, or it has some really weird thing that happens in the outfield that makes that stadium unique. And I feel that's where you're going to have a bit of a challenge, is that you'll have a good core audience here, like 700 views, 600 views. I think that's fantastic. But how do you get somebody like me, who's a sports fan and is interested in stadiums, to maybe click on it because there's something really interesting about the Spokane Indians, a Vista Stadium, which I'm not being teased in the thumbnail or the title.
I kind of wonder what the content is like. I mean, are they getting behind the scenes tours? I think stadiums sometimes do that.
Let's have a quick look. This is funny. Like that's like a weird dance to intro it. And then I think they are actually doing
good editing. Dropping now a little Google Earth type of view.
Yeah, so they're
good
doing
editing, some good education. Yeah.
Flyover. And then I think they actually visit the place as well.
Yeah, good B-roll.
I would be seeing if you can get in get into any kind of tours they're doing at any point, because I think having a unique perspective, like getting to see behind the scenes inside a stadium, I've gotten to do that, and it's really cool. like to see kind of, especially like when a game's going on, like the inner workings of everything. Like there's so much happening inside a stadium. And I think if you were to have that experience and showcase that and then talk about like, so this is where, you know, the booth is where they do their announcements. And while that's going on, just behind them is the press box. And they got all these reporters and they sit here and they get this special seat. Like it'd be really cool. Like a lot of people don't get to see that side of just sports entertainment. I know that's like a whole different suggestion, but just from a content perspective, that could be really cool.
And then just to tie a bow in this channel, Sean, you talked about this quite extensively about, you know, making this channel a business. Again, I'm judging the channel by their description, but at this point, there is a quick paragraph to describe the video and time chapters. There doesn't seem to be any thought about how there may be opportunities to bring in extra income besides the AdSense revenue. So, you know, if there was one thing that this creator may consider doing in order to monetize their content a little bit more, what could they maybe start to think about here as a sports stadium review channel?
I mean, I think before you get brand deals, you can almost kind of like simulate a brand deal. And what I mean by that is you could maybe you find a jersey website with a good affiliate program and you're like, hey, we're about to get into it today, but today I'm wearing the I love such and such. There's a link in the description, and maybe we still get a promo code. And it doesn't even have to be a brand deal, but you kind of treat it like a brand deal. So there's so much. So affiliate marketing would be a big take on that. Maybe potentially your diehard audience does want some uncut or some behind the scenes stuff. So Patreon or channel memberships could be interesting. And then again, scaling up growth to be able to, you know, necessitate brands or stadiums maybe wanting to bring you in or give you more access, and maybe you're already getting that. I wouldn't also underestimate already your influence and your size for getting open doors, exclusive things, free merch, free baseball bats, free things that, you know, because you're like, hey, this is who I am. I'm coming your way. And you have influence that should be honored and appreciated. You got 930 subscribers. People are watching your videos. It doesn't cost the stadium much to give you access or give you some free tickets. And maybe you're already taking advantage of that. And then again, one mindset thing, I just want to encourage you and everybody really work on building up your financial and your business acumen. I know someone's like, get back to the channel reviews. Listen, this is like the foundation of everything. And so of course, like all the tactics and the click-through rate and the views in the world, unless you just want to do this as a hobby, which respect, but if you want to go full-time and quit your job and really make a living doing this, you got to boost your financial education. And so he had mentioned that he's like, well, I'm actually mainly just visiting family and I'm driving local. The travel is not too expensive. And I was like, gas, mileage, food, those are actually all write-offs. Check with your CPA. I'm not a CPA, but so you can that's a whole different way of thinking, because we're thinking about making money. There's ways to save money. There's ways to think about how you structure things. And this is not the point of this. I get it. We're getting into the channel reviews, or we'll go back. But I just want to encourage you to build your invest in business education and financial education, because this is the dream. You can build a life where you're making the money you want around something you're passionate about. That's also getting you free stuff and backstage access and invitations to places you would have never dreamed of. And you're on your way to that. So add in those other nuances, like who even knows where this is going to take you, where people are paying to fly you out and give you box seats and get you an interview with the pitcher, the quarterback, or whatever. And so this YouTube thing is real, but you definitely want to get educated.
We want you to make money. That's why you're here, right? Sometimes we're going to take a break from looking at channels and talk about how you can make all the money.
Coming up.
Oh,
okay.
Rob, that was brilliant.
We haven't got Jeff today, so that's what we're doing right now. You've been submitting your channels. Okay, my sound effects are working. Brilliant. You submit your channels. We have 680 non-gaming channel submissions, 625 gaming channel submissions. Is that another record? Like 1,200 channels have submitted for review today. I'm just going to make sure that we cover all of the channels. And so now we put the claw into our collection of balls. It brings out a number. Oh, it's playing
317
number as well. 317. Okay, it's playing sound effects again. I think all of my cookies have been reset. Right, 317. We take that number and the channel URL. And now this is where we are encountering channels for the first time with no preconceived notions. It's us as viewers visiting a channel for the first time. Do we know we are in the right place within 5 to 10 seconds of looking at your channel banner, your thumbnails, etc., etc.? Sports Bros is the first channel that we're looking at here, and I'm seeing a lot of shorts of maybe a baseball variety. It seems to be mostly baseball here, and mostly some baseball gaming stuff as well, which isn't technically non-gaming, but I will let you off on this occasion. Any general thoughts here for this channel? Which how old are they? So they're relatively new. They've only been on YouTube for a month. So let's go too critical with them. What do you think they should be working on next?
Titles. Work on title.
The new video is called "Good Content." It's actually kind of a funny title, but like just that's good. Maybe that'll crush. Good content.
Let's be the judge of that.
And so, yeah, no, I would agree. I think that this channel, I want to really acknowledge them. You know, they're in that startup mode. They're publishing content. They're testing some things. You definitely see the sports, theme, but there's also, I saw one down there that was like something random of your dog. And it just kind of reminds me of my own journey. And I embrace that. Like, I'm kind of grateful because you're strengthening your content creation muscle by creating content. And everybody watching this, don't overthink it. Post videos. We learn by doing. Practice makes progress. With that, though, I think that one of the opportunities is to look at success leaves clues. And when you look at channels, sometimes trick shots, if you enjoy doing trick shots and you just try for 45 minutes to get that one shot and then edit that short down, that's
all 7 hours.
Yeah, it took 7 hours. Yeah.
That's a cool title, actually. That I think if that was, I mean, obviously you can't use custom thumbnails in shorts, but if that was matched with a really intriguing thumbnail, I think that would create a lot of curiosity. Sorry to interrupt.
Curiosity, yeah. And so trick shots, and then that goes into you're doing trick shots, so I do see that. And definitely 3 weeks ago, the ping pong trick, messing around with thumbnails. So get your Canva game on or your Photoshop or GIMP game on or whatever software. And because that's definitely a skill set as you're learning to create videos and post videos and create shorts and edit horizontal videos, be thinking about leveling up your thumbnail skills and your graphic design skills. This is the toolbox of the creator. You gotta sharpen the tools in your toolbox.
Mm-hmm. Dan Viper, anything to add there, or do you think as a creator starting out their journey, if they've got enough to be going with?
I think that's quite a bit. Everything Sean just laid out, and I think it's awesome to see, someone starting off strong, testing out all kinds of different stuff.
Final thought: hashtags in titles. Is it worth it? Should we just put in the descriptions, get rid of them completely?
I will get rid of them.
Sean, I think you said earlier you were using a hashtag in one of your titles. Like, what do you have any insight on this?
Yeah, I mean, the title, the only time we use a hashtag is in the end, not the beginning, but at the end of each of our podcast episodes. On our podcast channel, it's not always a podcast, but at the end of a podcast title, it says, like we just had Gary V on, it says Gary V's new strategies for growing on YouTube and social media, liney thing. Hashtag Think Media Podcast, hashtag the show number. Now, the thing is, anybody watching this could try this out. The problem with hashtags is when you click the hashtag, it's probably going to take it away from your channel. So if you click funny shorts or viral, I'm promising you that that's not going to be your video probably. So then you think about, okay, what am I trying to accomplish here? I think it was Nick Nimmin who I noticed a nuanced strategy being this. We like to use our own branded hashtags. And because we have 3 branded things, a lot of times I'll do Sean Cannell, Think Media, and Think Media Podcast. I put those in the description. Those hashtags appear above the title. When you click those, you're going to see that I and we on Think Media, we dominate those. So they're more of like a branding organization system for us. But one of the things I learned from Nick is then after the 3, you could play around with maybe some relevant hashtags in your niche. And it's not going to hurt you because no one's going to the bottom of your description to like click those hashtags probably. But now at least you're associated with those hashtags and you could theoretically rank for them. So no, I would definitely say I would avoid putting them in the title. Know that 3 of them will show up above your title, the first 3 listed in the description, and credit to Nick Nimmin. If there's 4 or 5 other hashtags you want to be associated with, like, you know, crazy trick shots, maybe one of your videos really pops off that actually does kind of rank and is searchable and findable in terms of that hashtag, and it could lead to some growth. But typically that's a very niche and rare possibility, I would say. So it's the kind of thing you spend 10 seconds on, you know, as you're finishing out your description.
Viper, did you have something to add there, or are we good?
No, I was just going to say that hashtags don't do what they think you might do with YouTube. With YouTube, what hashtag does, as Sean was alluding to, is you create a landing page for that particular hashtag. And just because you use the hashtag doesn't mean your video is going to be at the top of that landing page. So unless you create your own dedicated hashtag like Sean has done, not going to really do much for your video.
It was funny when we first started making videos about shorts, we included some custom hashtags. And I think people misinterpreted that they should use the same hashtags. So there was tons of random videos that just had hashtag vidIQ on them. They had nothing to do with us or the content. It was fantastic. I was trying to find one, but I couldn't. Drizzy is our gaming channel that we're looking at here now. Almost exclusively shorts. And when they are not shorts, they are very short videos. And again, the hashtag conversation comes up a little bit here. Valorant is the game, but Dan, this creator, is producing a lot of content. This is all from the last 10 days, and the view counts tend to be quite strong. Like they're averaging like 1,000 views or over with each video, which is promising. Yeah,
I really like to see the strength that they have behind their shorts. It looks like they kick right off. We can't hear it right now, which is fine. I think that they're probably giving fans of Valorant, you know, what they would expect to get if a Valorant short popped up on their feed. So that's really when it comes to gaming shorts, what you want to be doing is creating something that's visually, like, this looks stressful. This is really funny. Yeah. Like, you know, I don't even need to hear it, and I'm already kind of entertained by what just happened over there. They won the match after that. I would be, the only thing now that we're watching some of these shorts is I'd be cutting before the screen goes black.
Yeah, I know. It's like a fade to black. That definitely tells the viewer this short is over. Move on.
And it sticks on that one screen way too long. You know, like once you've won the match, you could just punch in on the word one for like a second, and then end the short right there cold, so that it has the potential to loop. And so someone, if they want to see that again, you know, they're more encouraged to, because it's already started anyway.
You see, that's a natural loop. I couldn't tell for 2 loops then that it actually had repeated itself because there was no fade to black.
I think it's theirs. It was really fast. I think I saw it once.
Okay.
But either way, that's just like common with shorts. Like, we can't really talk too much about titles. We can't talk too much about thumbnails. And what I've been trying to help people understand is that in theory, the thumbnail of your short is actually the first couple of seconds of the short. You know, that's because people are going to find this while they're scrolling through all types of stuff. They're not really going to find it on the regular places you would find a video on YouTube. So it's going to pop up. It's going to automatically start playing. And that's your opportunity, to, you know, have that thumbnail sell the video, so that those first couple seconds are important. And I think this creator understands that. Looking at the one thing they did 2 days ago, the long form video, since it's only 2 days old, I would give it some time. But I think where you may have gone wrong with that one, if I had to judge like why it didn't do better, is the thumbnail. It just kind of shows a character and it says the word ace. But you're saying Neon's ultimate is insane. I think I would like to see one of 2 things: the ultimate in progress, you know, the animation of them doing the move, or the carnage afterwards, you know, or the fact that like a text pops up on the screen that says you won, or something, some kind of flavor text or something like that. Like, as a fan of the game, I would like to see something that triggers in my mind, like, oh, this must be really good. You know, it looks really cool, or you win the game every time, or something like that. So I think the thumbnail for that could have been a bit better, and it would have continued to get more views. And it's not too late to change it either.
A month ago, their game was Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah.
I guess there is some crossover in first-person shooter audience there, but I'm wondering how long they're going to do Valorant for. They're going to do this for a couple of weeks, months, and then move on to the next shooter, or are they going to really niche down into what seems to be a slowly growing and consistent audience?
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. I think with these types of games, there is a lot of crossover. So you could, if you're going to stick to first-person shooters, you could get away with those. There's two very popular first-person shooters. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Very good stuff there from a Shorts gaming channel. Now we're going to look at a channel that calls themselves A Christian 007, and another Shorts channel, pretty much. I'm not sure where to go with that one. We don't want to encourage that sort of activity.
I don't know if he wants to like delete that video. Nobody will ever reach 100 million subscribers. Dude, somebody want to tell him? Anybody want to tell him? Oh boy.
So I guess what's this channel about? Because all of this content was in the last day on many different topics, such as the 3 new features of the Google Nest Hub. Nobody will reach 100 million subscribers. What house villager choose? And then something about installing a hard drive on a PS3.
Oh Lord, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm worried some of this content doesn't look like it's coming from the same person.
I'm worried about that as well, just in terms of volume of content.
Oh, y'all got that vibe too, huh? Yeah. We don't have to remind you all, but I'll remind you all anyway that taking content that is not yours and re-uploading it is a no-no. And if people find out, they're going to come for you, and it's not going to be pretty.
So on this one, he is doing, I believe, a voiceover narration of the play buttons. So I think that was original content. I think maybe just using the material from elsewhere and trying to make it transformative content. But anyway, besides that, are we all going to agree on this is about 50 different channels all in one, posting a piece of content every single day?
This looks like a repository more than anything.
It's got tech, gaming, and memes. If the tech and the gaming and the memes were all incorporated into the same video every single time, I think that would make some intriguing, curious opportunities. But going from each of these topics one after the other, the channel focus here is, I guess, proving in itself that we've had all of these different topics for over a year with view counts under 100, and everything in the last day is getting 10 views or less. So whatever strategy this is, which is not just throwing spaghetti at the wall, Sean, but buying all of the pasta in a supermarket and throwing all of that onto the wall, is still not sticking.
Yeah, and it could be, and the key with throwing spaghetti against the wall, though, is that if it doesn't stick, you don't try to pick it up and do it again. So even in testing content, narrowing it down, and it feels very random. And I think, like, I would assume everyone submitting a channel review is trying to grow, but if creating this content is because you just kind of want to express yourself and share it with friends and kind of like just, treating your YouTube channel as a place where you kind of have fun, and after work or school, you upload some stuff, that's, then great. And it kind of feels that way. It's just kind of an expression of the randomness of all of our personalities. But if you really want to take this seriously, and work towards growth, you have to maybe make the painful decision of throwing away all the spaghetti that doesn't stick, doubling down on that which does, and then refining the content once you can find those themes. And yeah, you're definitely seeing some stuff that's working, but it's also interesting. I don't know what, again, it could be uploads from others as well. So and then I think it's that wrapping your mind around the fact that while that may give you the short-term emotional release of like, cool, 3.8 thousand, 3,800 views, 3,500 views. If it's something about Andrew Tate and it's not about you, it's not really connected to your channel, then it's just a short-term dopamine hit, and it's not actually going to lead to substantial impact or community building.
Yeah, there's 10,000 views here in the last week, all on the recent stories about Andrew Tate. Now, if you were to become, I guess, a celebrity gossip YouTube drama channel tracking all of these stories, then that would start to build an audience. But if you're talking about Andrew Tate in one video and then how to install or change a hard drive in a PS3 the next video, the audience and YouTube recommendation system is going to be completely confused. So I think, just to summarize all of this, channel focus, target audience, research what that means, and then start to deliver content to that audience on a regular basis. Probably not 10 times a day, because I think even for shorts, the cadence might be a little too extreme, at least in my opinion. I can't remember, was that a gaming channel or not? It was such a...
Well, it wasn't supposed to be.
No, it was a non-gaming channel, right? So we're going to do a gaming channel next. That's 262. See how many we can work through here in the next 20 minutes. Extreme Dirt Racing, the next channel we're going to look at. 2,500 subscribers, and this is one of these channels where I look at the thumbnails and I start to question, is this real life or not?
Yeah, click on one.
Racing games are so realistic these days. Well, we talk about that.
Yeah,
we talk about all of this.
We're going to talk about this tomorrow for sure in the video reviews. It does look like it's a video game, which is good because it looked very, very real, which is a compliment to their thumbnail design abilities. That said, does the audience of the game know that like the thumbnails are not real life? Like, does that? I don't know. I'd be kind of looking at the thumbnails in this niche to see, just to make sure that like, do people like look at this and go, oh, okay, that's my favorite video game, or does it look like actual like real dirt racing? That might skew things a little bit. Kind of interesting.
They're front loading a title with SRX the gaming. A lot of these, I guess, maybe for that differentiation. Maybe it'd be better to put the gaming logo in the bottom left-hand corner. It feels like there might be an opportunity to just put something here, use up some blank negative space possibly, and take it out of the title.
Yeah, thumbnails aside, definitely do some research and see what's working, what's not. You might have already done that, and these look great. So let's talk about the actual titles themselves and what we're going to get when we click on these 10 to 14-minute videos. And the thing is, I don't really know. I don't know what you're doing in the game that's like that clickability is missing for me. The title is readable. The thumbnail is nice and clean looking, but it just kind of mentions the league or the series that they're racing in. And there's no level of intrigue there. So what about the fairgrounds? What about, Baxterville Speedway? Late model series race. What, like, are you trying to win? Are you trying to race with certain rule sets that make it challenging? Like, are you taking the game and maybe playing it in a way that wasn't intended? All of these things could make for really interesting YouTube videos for people who are fans of the game. But to me, it feels like you're just kind of going to race and we're just going to kind of watch passively. So I don't know where's the intriguing bit. I would say if there's a crash or something like that, I would want that to be the title and the focus of the thumbnail. Even if you're just always going, no, I'm not going to do any of that fancy stuff. I just want to race. Cool. Like, focus on the most interesting part of the race then and make that the hook of the video for the title and the thumbnail. Like, epic crash in the blah blah series or something like that. I'm missing the level of intrigue that I need to click on any of these videos.
You would imagine that all of the regular viewers will click on this because it's the thumbnails are of a high quality. And yeah, I agree with you, Dan, in that all of these tell you the what, It's a video game. I'm playing with this car, probably on this track. So for somebody who's coming across your content for the first time, their follow-up question would be, why should I care? Why is this interesting to me? How are you going to make this curious for me to click on? So it's almost like they've done 90% of the thumbnail right, but the 10% that's remaining is a crucial human element that is perhaps lacking a little bit to take me to the next level.
So when they broke away from this a little bit 8 days ago, they did all the series and tracks announced for the new world something.
Oops.
It's truncated, so I don't know what it says.
This one, yeah.
That one there.
World of Outlaws game.
Okay. So there's a very clear value in that title and that thumbnail, right? As soon as you look at it, you're like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to get. And that level of intrigue is there. Like, you're going to tell me about all the different series coming to this new game or new update or whatever it might be. So that, to me, is why that video did particularly well when compared to just, I'm going to play the game now. I'm just going to race, or I'm just going to show you some highlights from a race.
I think, generally speaking, this World of Outlaws game is perhaps more appealing to the audience as well. They're playing this SRX game, but the Outlaws one, when they look at the trailer and like an in-depth look at the game, 14,000 views. I guess
maybe it's not out yet.
It's interesting. Look, it's released in a month, so they're preparing the groundwork to become one of the leaders in this space, which I think is fantastic. I think they should continue to transition their audience over to this new game as they are doing so. Because I think they're going to see perhaps maybe a bit of an influx, a tick in viewers and audience.
That was a really good catch, because I didn't even notice that. I thought we were just kind of always looking at the same game. So there is obvious like interest there. What you need to be doing when that game comes out, other than just kind of playing it, I would be, looking for secrets, looking for anything, like give people tips, even if you feel like it's obvious. Make some like top 5 things you didn't know. Really like get into that high value. Like be the go-to creator for everything that game could possibly offer.
Okay, let's move on to the next gaming channel. And I'm very conscious of the fact, Viper, that I've not allowed you to take the reins on looking at a channel for a while. So introduce us to Lucid Auto Works. Spell incorrectly, I assume, intentionally.
I like that.
So what do we see here as an introduction to the channel?
It's my favorite kind of channels, just because it's practical, it's searchable. People want to just find Milwaukee M18 Frankenstein impact drivers. They want to learn about them or see inside of them. It's a really good niche. And then you think about the opportunity potentially for affiliates. Can we hit most popular? Okay, tutorial, ultimate manual for tire changer modifications. Okay. Color change, practical. I'm not always the biggest fan of text on the thumbnail. These are some decent thumbnails, though. I mean, they're clear, simple words, simple font. With the yellow, it really is easy to read. You're isolating the thing that people are learning about. Got some great views out here. What are the current stats, Rob?
Yeah, it is an interesting thing, isn't it? This channel's been around for a long time, and they've had some established evergreen content over periods of many years. Today's videos get thousands of views, and then stats wise, ticking along, I would say. Not doing too bad there. And I was wondering, it's because they've not made any videos recently. Is that the case? Have they taken a bit of a break here? Yeah, the cadence is not that often. Whether they've taken a break because life's got in the way, or there just wasn't anything to do tutorials on. Not that much in the last 6 months.
What's the vidIQ stats?
These ones.
Okay, so yeah, only the 2 uploads. Okay, did you go a little bit longer? Averaging 3 uploads? Is that what that's saying, or what'd you do?
This is over 6 months. That's what they've done in 6 months.
Oh, 3 uploads in 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to one of those things that you didn't need to come to this channel review session for. But anybody here that's like, I don't know why my channel's not growing. Tip number 1: upload videos. Like, I mean, one of the secrets to getting views on YouTube is uploading videos to YouTube. Thank you, everybody. It's been great being here.
I love it. And he's done.
All right, I'm back, but it's true. I mean, that's one of those things, you know. So, and you know what I think it kind of brings up, though, if you've been doing it for years, I think it brings up creator fatigue and, you know, sometimes maybe creator burnout and the seasons of life. But that it might be a practical thing coming back and coming back to some best practices. This is my favorite topic. Of course, everyone is like, dude, search doesn't matter. It's only about suggested. Suggested is the biggest traffic source. Well, of course it is. But what I love is that everybody threw the baby out with the bathwater. And now I'm having another baby in 6 days. It's a bad analogy. It doesn't actually work. But listen, search is alive and well. It's the slow and steady winner. Why everybody doesn't want to have the patience for it. Think Media is out here getting 122,000 views every day, whether we upload new content or not. Dominating. You know, I talked to somebody the other day. He goes, literally, I got back into video. I found you on the other side of every question that I had. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, that's what we're out here doing. And this niche perfectly relates to that. So I think there could be something about recapturing vision, doubling down on the things that helped you, when you first started, getting into a cadence and a routine and a habit of, getting about one video out a week, and you could be back on that rise again. Saying that, of course, you should also make some videos that could bring in a lot of new audience when you hit that inspiration of it being a little bit more suggested based, viral based, wider reaching. Those videos, both and, it's not either or. But especially on a practical channel like this, I think getting back to those basics and getting your content pumping out again is going to be a huge key to triggering growth.
Sean, I would love to have a longer conversation about this because at vidIQ, we've kind of found a little, not quite the opposite, but certainly in 2021, our search traffic collapsed to a certain extent. It just dropped like 20-30% in 6 months. And so we decided to go on a more of a suggested browse organic approach, which has produced results. But that's definitely a question for another day. Viper, anything to add here? Like the thumbnails jumping out or things to work on there? Do you like the idea of a Dirge dog in this to tell us about this particular Harbor Freight grinder stand?
Yeah, I don't know why the dog is there. They're kind of weird why the dog is there. I'm not sure what they were trying to go for with that. Maybe it's the eyes of the dog. If that's the case, I'd rather have a picture of your eyes in there or your face in there trying to relay whatever emotion you're trying to convey. The dog is not doing it for me in that particular thumbnail. And the text, the much wild text was barely readable.
It's on purpose though, isn't it, for that one?
Yeah. Most of these thumbnails are pretty good. Like I like the black and white. I love the white text with the black outline. Like that popped on most thumbnails on YouTube. And I use that myself too. So I like that. The thumbnails are pretty good. I love the fact that they're not using too much text on the thumbnails. It's usually 3 words or less, which is what I tell you guys all the time. And pictures are clear what the video is going to be about. And I tell you, keep up the good work. And like Sean said, just upload more.
Yeah, well, the previous channel we audited made 10 videos in a day, and this channel's made 3 videos in 6 months. So that shows you sometimes the contrast between output from creators. I'm going to move on to the next channel. This is a gaming channel, I think, and this is channel 424. Let's see what we have next. So this channel, Dan, calls themselves Rapid LS or Rapidals, if I was trying to pronounce that. Okay.
All right. Daily reactions. Trying that for a bit.
What
Not
is
really
that?
sure what they're reacting to. It looks like probably games when you scroll over the video. And then, okay, so then we see like top 10 hardest levels in Geometry Dash. So I'm guessing because of the thumbnail that they're using kind of shows the same like face with the teeth on it. It's just kind of blurred out each time. Maybe it's always Geometry Dash. But in the last 11 days, these reactions they've been doing, it's just not been made clear in the titles or the thumbnails that that's what you're going to be reacting to.
Yeah.
And I think that's slowing the videos down quite a bit, considering the video from 17 hours ago has 1.5K views.
Nice. Really nice.
Yeah, they found an audience somewhere in this space. I'm surprised Geometry Dash is not a name I've uttered in a very long time.
I remember when I first started doing channel audits, every other gaming channel would be Geometry Dash, and then it turned into Minecraft. So all of these videos just need repackaging, don't they? With similar thumbnail, changing title. All right, you may think that this is a series that people want to watch, but it's again, the packaging here is just, you're missing out on so many easy clicks in terms of just pitching a video in a slightly different format, because people probably don't even realize these are Geometry Dash videos, especially when the other thumbnails are very vibrant and really quite catching in how they're presented.
Yeah, and there's definitely people interested in this. I would be looking at, like, when you think about reaction videos, like I think about Mr. Beast's reaction channel a lot, and if you look on your home feed and you're a subscriber to both his regular channel and his reaction channel, sometimes a reaction video pops up and you don't even realize that's what you're looking at first, because the way he does it is he kind of takes ownership of what he's reacting to, and you would almost think like, oh, did he do like another challenge or something? And you know, when you look at the thumbnail and title a little more carefully, you realize, oh, this is his reacts channel. Got it. I think you could be doing that a little bit more if you're going to react to anything, and this is just for any channel out there, you know, don't just say me reacting to thing episode 5, like talk about like one of the things you're going to react to, like talk about something in the video that's going to happen to create that intrigue that you so desperately need to like get the click. Because right now, just the same exact thumbnail and title over and over again isn't really doing anything. Yet we know this channel is capable of doing much, much greater things when we see the latest 2 videos.
Yeah, simple fix. Start there, definitely. Next non-gaming channel is 567. They actually tell us how to pronounce this one. Thank you. I wish everybody did this. A Canute is how we pronounce this channel. And I just hit 100 subscribers. Congratulations there. And I like this channel in terms of its thumbnails, in that I can get a pretty clear idea straight away about what the channel is about, which I presume is fitness. They've just hit 100,000 subscribers as well, and so congratulations on that play button that's either heading your way or is already there. And what do we think here? Daily videos almost. Massive amount of views. They're probably operating at a channel with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, not just 100,000 subscribers.
Are they taking advantage of their community tab?
That sounds like a question from a person, Dan, who's not sure what extra advice they can
give. Not at all. Right? 2 weeks ago and a year ago.
Yeah.
Big opportunity. Dan, break it down. What could you do here?
I'd be looking at daily posts, and it looks like they're talking to and helping a lot of people, or just at least like showcasing a lot of different people and a lot of achievements. I'd be taking pictures, stills from the videos. The community tab is just a way to kind of increase your brand as a whole. It's just, I think, all part of a well-rounded YouTube breakfast. You know, use your community tab. You know, put pinned comments and end cards and make shorts and longs. Like, you have all these tools that YouTube gives you, and the community tab would be a great thing to use. But yes, that's not like a make or break here when you're looking at a channel with 100,000 subscribers. It is something, because you're right, Rob. Like, I look at this channel and go, hello, like, welcome to vidIQ. What can we do for you? There's a lot here they're already doing right. The other thing I was going to say is maybe we look at their descriptions, see if they're looking at like affiliate deals, brand deals, things like that.
I imagine they are, but I will click. Also have a big on Twitch as well.
A bunch of different people too. So it's wondering if that's people from their gym or.
I know Mizkip is like a really big name. They might be some of the channels they're friends with or watch a lot. I'm not really sure.
They got their merch.
That's interesting that they've only got 150 comments from a video with 150,000 views. That might just mean that where the content is consumed is not directly on YouTube, so it leads to less engagement, but maybe there's opportunities for more engagement there. And I guess this is an example of a creator that's the definitive brand of their own content, because they include their name, Canute, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, in all of their titles. So that is like the perfect amalgamation of a channel where it's built its own fan base. It doesn't have to rely on anybody else's SEO or any other trending topics. The brand itself and the creator themselves are the star attraction, which is a brilliant place to be in as a creator. Very consistent view counts as well. And wow, look at the growth here as well. Like a year ago, they were doing typically thousands of views. And then, this is all from like a month ago. They've really started to kick it into gear with his long form pieces of content. That's incredible. Very well done.
I think they're working with creators a lot. Maybe that's where those links were coming from. They're working with a lot of different creators. So collab opportunities there, they're already taking advantage of that as well. If I'm right, and it seems like I am because I'm seeing some familiar faces pop up in these thumbnails.
And so generally, I guess what we're saying here is that continue to do what you're doing. There's a community tab there that's not being utilized just yet. Definitely use that. Maybe it's time to start testing some live streams as well, connecting with your audience on a direct personal basis. That might be another opportunity for any business opportunities in terms of upselling. That's something to look at as well.
Let me ask you this, Rob. Pat Flynn mentioned that the replay of a live stream does not get pushed out by the algorithm, and it would be better to actually even download and re-upload the live stream to be live, but then to go potentially private or unlisted because the recommendations are just not the same and certain traffic sources are hindered.
Mm.
I think if you're going to do that, you would probably want to edit it too, right? Like if you're going to download it and re-upload it anyway, you may as well cut it down.
Well, if you're taking the time to do that, that would be an extra step. But yes, but also he truly meant from his testing, seeing the difference between a 45-minute straight through video and a live stream replay, that algorithmically traffic sources were hindered. And I should, I'll ask him actually. It just reminds me of that question. I didn't know if y'all had tested that at all. I
think YouTube would always argue against such a notion that live streams are treated differently in the same way they'd argue that short form content is treated differently than long form content. I would be inclined to generally agree that live streams are treated differently, but I think there's a counter argument from Ed at Film Booth, who has had success with live streams after the fact because they've been prepared in a way and structured in a way that the thumbnail and the title and how he speaks to his audience in that live stream would be something that you would find in a long form piece of content anyway. So I think, as usual, there's different attitudes towards this. I was kind of thinking in terms of live streaming on this channel that it would be a very different type of content to what they've currently got going on here.
Kind of a depth community connection thing as well.
Yeah, it's not necessarily for views. It's maybe necessarily taking on the next funnel if that's kind of the approach that he's looking for on this channel.
Don't forget our own El Jefe has having success with people watching this live stream replay.
Yeah,
so it can't be done.
He has a lot to talk about there because after the fact, he will edit the live stream and then put in very strategic timestamps and have it very prepared in such a way that it is transitioned from a live stream to a long form content, where this type of content we're doing here is very much not really designed to be watched after the fact. It's very much for the community that's watching us now, but we just leave these live streams up in case people missed the channel, the audit that they received.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The smart passive income man himself, Pat Flynn, is responding to my Instagram DM with 3 dots as we speak.
Oh, this is exciting.
But I will also say, to the Film Booth point, yeah, my biggest video right now on Think Media Podcast channel is just a live stream that has been left up, and browse features and suggested are crushing. And it's the biggest growth video on the channel, period, with an average view duration of 10 minutes. It's already grown the channel by 1,200 subscribers. Anyways, I don't know how soon he might be writing the longest paragraph of all time, which will be the cliffhanger, as if we're landing the plane here. But he stopped typing. He gave up.
Viper, can you Can you Twitter DM Pat and tell him to hurry up responding to Sean?
Maybe I can get him to answer public, and then I'll include y'all in the conversation.
Let's call him. Let's call him now. Let's get him live. Let's put him under pressure. All right, then. That brings us up to the top of the hour, everybody. Thank you very much, as always, for joining us. I think through this live stream, we've talked about channel focus in particular. We've talked about how thumbnails on beauty thumbnails can have a really interesting impact if a face is too dominant. We've just looked at a channel with over 100,000 subscribers and what they can do next. We've looked at how a channel could potentially write off a lot of what they do on their channel in terms of travel to save themselves a little bit of money. It's all been knowledge bombs here, there, and everywhere. Dan, thank you for your time as always. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to quickly plug what we're doing next tomorrow.
We will be doing something very similar to what we did today, except we're going to ask you to submit your channels. Then we're going to click into your videos themselves and see if we can offer some tips, tricks, insights into making it so people don't click off of your videos.
Viper, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to plug all of the wonderful ways that the community can connect to us outside of YouTube, because we've got lots of social platforms, right?
I mean, if you just type in at vidIQ on the Twitter, the Instagram, the YouTube, the Facebook, you'll find vidIQ. So just type in vidIQ wherever you are. Except for TikTok. I think we're called vidIQ Viral on TikTok. Yeah, connect.
And Sean, I want to give you 10 seconds and just thank you very much, as always, for joining us. It's always a pleasure and an honor and a privilege having you on and sharing your insights with the vidIQ community. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Sean Cannell, Rhymes with YouTube channel. My friends, it's been great hanging out with you here, and always a lot of fun, vidIQ fam. Let's hang out on Think Media on YouTube.
Links are in the description for Sean's Think Media main channel. We've also got links in there for the big discount we have on vidIQ Max. In the meantime, we'll see you all very soon.